Hey guys, welcome to the Max Invest YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over Ethereum's governance mechanisms. We're going to be going over how an upgrade gets proposed and how that upgrade eventually gets implemented on the Ethereum base layer. Of course, if you enjoy the video, remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and remember, nothing in this video is financial advice. So let's get into the video. The first thing I do want to say is that Ethereum's governance mechanism is called rough consensus. Now, rough consensus is done entirely off-chain. So the first thing that I do want to distinguish is there's on-chain and off-chain governance. Now, the way that on-chain governance works is that a protocol will have a token, and then individuals will be able to use that token to vote on proposals. So an example of this is Uniswap, where individuals have the Uni token and they can use that Uni token to vote on proposals in the Uniswap ecosystem. An entirely separate chain that has this is, say, Polkadot, where Polkadot have that on-chain governance system. Ethereum do not have this on-chain governance system, and the reason for this is because Ethereum have gone even more conservative. In these other chains, it takes 50% of the money to influence the chain and push through protocols with an on-chain governance system. However, with Ethereum, it takes even more, and it's a little bit more conservative in getting upgrades on the base layer through. So, the governance mechanism that Ethereum has is called rough consensus. So all this means is individuals in the Ethereum ecosystem try to find rough consensus on something, and eventually that gets upgraded into the Ethereum protocol. Now, the way that rough consensus works is anybody is allowed to propose an improvement to the Ethereum ecosystem. So anybody all around the world is able to write up a draft improvement for Ethereum, and they are able to submit this to GitHub. Essentially, these are called EIPs. Now, EIP stands for Ethereum Improvement Proposal. You may have heard of EIPs such as EIP 1559. Essentially, what this means is it's the 1559th Ethereum Improvement Proposal that has been proposed. So, all it takes is somebody to write up an EIP and then they can propose it to GitHub. This is essentially how all of the changes for Ethereum are proposed. This is how EIP 1559 was proposed, and there's a few other changes that have happened to the Ethereum base layer because of this. Now, essentially, once this is done, the community and other individuals will see that somebody's proposed an EIP. From there on, all of the individuals will start looking at that EIP and they will start discussing this. So the general Ethereum community will start discussing this EIP. Now, the important thing to note in this discussion is that everybody gets a say. Everybody can speak their mind and have a say in the discussion if they want to. This includes Ethereum holders, Ethereum node operators, Ethereum developers, and Ethereum core developers. Anybody who spends time in the Ethereum ecosystem is allowed to speak their mind. Generally, what will happen is a lot of the big Ethereum influencers like Anthony Sassano or Justin Drake will put out a post on this EIP on Twitter. Everybody will see it, everybody will discuss it, and people will speak their minds. Now, if the overwhelming majority of individuals are in favour of the EIP, everybody likes the EIP, everybody thinks it's good, the EIP will start moving through the ranks. It'll go up to developers, people will be discussing it, they'll be thinking, is this technically possible? And eventually this EIP will get up to the core developers. Now, the core developers from there on will start providing their feedback to the community. They will discuss if it's actually safe to deploy to the mainnet or if it's actually doable. So the core developers will take a look at the EIP, test out if it's actually doable, and then provide their feedback to the community for even more debate. Now, if individuals agree with the core developers, then the upgrade will likely begin testing and go through a pretty long process. So if everybody agrees that it will happen, the core developers will start working on the upgrade, they'll start testing it out and seeing if it works and continuing to update the community on the process throughout. Of course, if everything works and it goes through smoothly, well, then this upgrade is likely to pass and it will change the Ethereum protocol. So this is what can happen if everything goes well. Now, what can potentially happen is individuals in the Ethereum community, the majority of individuals will disagree with the core developers. Now, the core developers could essentially want to push through an upgrade that individuals don't want, or they could block an upgrade that individuals want. Now, if this happens, there's nothing to worry about. This is because the individuals in the community, the majority of people in the Ethereum community, have the ability to subvert the core developers. Essentially, what they can do is everybody in the Ethereum ecosystem get to choose what Ethereum client they want to run. So, if the core developers push through an upgrade that people don't like, well, the majority of people will just run the old Ethereum client and it won't matter anyway. This upgrade will not go through and everybody can keep running their old Ethereum client. Now, if the core developers block and say we're not going to do an upgrade that the majority of individuals in the Ethereum community like, well then all of the other individuals can essentially code this upgrade themselves, become a core developer, and then the majority of people in the Ethereum community can run these clients on their computers and the upgrade will get passed. So essentially, the way this still works and the way rough consensus works is it relies on the majority of people accepting the upgrade. Everybody who's running an Ethereum client on their computer must accept this upgrade, and this is hundreds of thousands to millions of people in the Ethereum community. Now, the next thing that I briefly want to discuss is who actually are the core developers, because you've probably heard me throw around the term core developers a lot and you may not know what this means. Now, core developers refer to those who work directly on the Ethereum protocol. These are people who work directly on the base layer and directly on Ethereum upgrades. So this isn't people who work on the dApps on Ethereum, people who code smart contracts on Ethereum, or people who work on the L2s. It's none of those people, it's only the people who work on the base layer of Ethereum. So this is a pool of thousands and thousands of individuals. Essentially, if you want to become a core developer, anybody can do this. What you can do is you can just start working on the Ethereum base layer today, and when you start working on it, well, you're an Ethereum core developer. There's no special pass to get through, nobody employs these core developers, and anybody can start working on the Ethereum protocol. Now, these core developers tend to join teams and work together on Ethereum changes, as some of them can be quite hard. However, anybody can tackle these changes in the Ethereum ecosystem, and it's very, very easy to become a core developer if you have the technological skills to code properly at a very high level. The misconception that I wanted to clear up is that core developers are not employed by anyone directly, core developers are not centralized, and this does not subvert Ethereum's decentralization whatsoever. Now, rough consensus was made to maintain decentralization. In my opinion, this is a very decentralized way of pushing through upgrades, more so than on-chain governance. This is because everyone in the Ethereum community gets to have a say in what happens, everybody gets to speak their mind, and this is hundreds of thousands to millions of people. Now, at the end of the day, the majority of individuals get to choose what Ethereum client is being run, which determines what upgrades are being run. So overall, 50% of the individuals in the Ethereum ecosystem will get to determine which client is the Ethereum client, and therefore which upgrades go through. This means a small group of individuals can't push through any malicious upgrades, as at the end of the day it comes down to the broader community. Now, of course, these upgrades need to be programmed by developers on the Ethereum network. The upgrades don't program themselves. So this does mean that the core developers, those who work on the Ethereum base layer, get a decent say in what the upgrades are. This is because these are the people who are actually programming it, and these people give a lot of feedback to the community and have a lot of discussions with the community. Of course, we do know if any of the core developers try to do something malicious, and this would need to take thousands and thousands of core developers pulling together, well, it doesn't even matter, as the Ethereum community could come together and block the upgrade. So, some upgrades take about 50% of people to vote on the upgrade and then it goes through. However, Ethereum essentially takes over 50% with rough consensus, and this is basically the most conservative form of governance you can find out there. Bitcoin's form of governance is probably more conservative than Ethereum's. However, Ethereum is basically the second most conservative form of governance that you will find. So, as a direct result of it being quite conservative, this can impact time quite negatively. Generally, Ethereum is pretty slow to upgrade, as this decentralized process is very thorough, and it means that it will take quite a long time for EIPs to go through. Everything is checked and scrutinized properly. Take a look at EIP 1559. Now, EIP 1559 took about 2.5 to 3 years to implement. This is a very long period of time, and it really did take a while since it was initially proposed. However, in my opinion, this is not a worry. I'm not worried whatsoever that it takes a long time for upgrades to go through on the base layer, and I'll tell you why right now. The reason for this is because I believe the majority of the developments in Ethereum is going to come in the form of layer 2s. What happens is on these layer 2s, which are built on top of Ethereum, you can upgrade way quicker. In fact, you can upgrade in a matter of months if the majority of sequences on that layer 2 want to upgrade. So things like Arbitrum and Optimism will be upgrading really fast, and all of these new layer 2s will be coming up with heaps of technology. Overall, I do believe that everything is going to be built on top of these layer 2s on Ethereum into the future. Everything will deploy on top of these layer 2s and they will upgrade quickly. Now, this is great for Ethereum because all of the fees on the layer 2s are paid in Ether. In fact, all of the value from these layer 2s will come down and accrue to the Ethereum base layer. This is because all of these layer 2s do need to submit batches of transactions onto the Ethereum mainnet, and as a direct result, all of the Ether holders will get all of that value. This is great for Ethereum in the long run. So, overall, I believe that most of these upgrades are going to be coming on top of these layer 2s, and this is good for the Ethereum mainnet. The Ethereum mainnet can just continue to slowly upgrade over time, continue chugging along as all of these layer 2s get built on top of it and do a lot of technological innovation. Of course, the Ethereum mainnet is needed to ensure all of these layer 2s are decentralized and all of these layer 2s are secure, and the main Ethereum network will protect all users' funds at all times. So, in my personal opinion, I do believe that the EIP process is a very good process. Rough consensus is thoroughly decentralized, and I'm not worried about the time it takes to upgrade, as I do believe layer 2s will be able to fulfill this gap in the Ethereum ecosystem. Overall, this was a very dense video, and if you got to the end, it is much appreciated. So, if you enjoyed the video and understood the upgrade, thanks for watching the video.